William Gilmore here for the ScreenwritersJourney.com. It is day 149 of the journey. And as I feared last weekend, I was not able to get the writing done that I was hoping for, just because of all the things that I had going on between training for this upcoming weekend's race, doing the Spartan race sprint. So that should be a bit of a challenge this upcoming weekend. But last week I was doing my last big training round for that, running up the mountains and the Verdugos. And then I did bail on the strong word, spoken word event Saturday night. So I could sit down and look at the script a bit. Didn't get a whole lot done. Still trying to figure out what to do about that whole switch in the protagonist thing. It looks like I need to do some restructuring in the top of the second act, which is that whole section where right after the surgery, where Grady and Shep sort of figure out that they're wanted by the cops, and Khalida is confronting Reydel over his failure at losing the money and the drugs and all that. So there's going to need to be some restructuring there to try and take the focus away from Grady, Shep, and Tyler a little bit and put it on Reydel if I want to make that if I want to make him the protagonist. That's what I'm trying to say. So that's sort of what I sat down tonight and did, and I really had to get something out tonight because I've signed up for a new writing workshop called Rewrites that meets on the west side of LA, and that's tomorrow night. So I thought, well, I could take in pages that I've already done rewrites on, but if those is going to change, what's the point of bringing those in? So I kind of jumped on that section tonight and did some restructuring and trying to figure out what to do. The big change there is instead of having Shep find out that they're wanted, or at least being sought for questioning by the police, watching a TV interview with Sheriff Hiram while he's at Grady's house, sort of filling him in on everything that's going on. It's a lot of exposition. Here's what's happened while you've been passed out, recovering from your gunshot wound. I switched that up. Instead of going to that house, going right to the conference immediately following Reydel coming home and letting Khalida know that things have gone badly and they're being watched. From being watched, what originally happened was that we went into sort of this, we faded to black and we heard the news conference happening, fade up on a TV set in Grady's house. Shep is sitting next to Grady in the bed, watching the TV show and just keeping an eye on Grady to make sure, nothing goes wrong with his improvised surgery. And Grady wakes up and he would inform him what has happened in the 3 days that has taken place since the shooting. Well, I was kind of bothered by the fact that it took 3 days. A lot of things could have happened in that 3 days. Why didn't Reydel and Khalida make their escape? Would they seriously sit around in the house 3 days waiting? Just questions like that. So the restructuring now goes from Reydel confiding in Khalida, telling him that his brother's been killed, they've lost the drugs, they've lost the money, and Hiram has got somebody watching them. Immediately cutting to Hiram at that press conference. It's happening the same day, later in the day, where he starts to spin his story for the press to cover his own tracks in this whole wild affair that's been happening. And it also sets up his killing of Buck later. We set up the idea that he's been doing some research on Buck and has been suspicious. So that's a good thing. And then it goes into while that conference is happening, we switch to Shep's trailer where he's watching the news conference, and we see the last little bit of the news conference where they reveal that they do want these 3 guys in the boat for questioning, and he's like, oh my God, they're on to us. And he gets up and hightails it to Grady's house. At which point we switch back to Reydel and Khalida with the Atlanta scene, and then we would go into Shep arriving at Grady's house to let him know that they're wanted. We've got to go find my brother, and that's where we pick up with the script as it exists. So I think that restructuring will work. It puts more emphasis on the Hiram side, so it takes a little bit off the Grady Shep bit, and that helps to sort of play them down a little bit. It loses all that exposition that kind of slowed things down. It keeps things going, keeps our stakes raised. I think that restructuring will work. I'm going to find out tomorrow night when I go to this new writers group. I'm going to take those 10 pages in and see what happens. And so I'll let you know about that tomorrow night. So that was about 10 pages of rewrites today. So thank goodness I got 10 pages in. So I'm probably going to be pushing it to make my 30 pages for the month. Should be close. I've probably got 10, 15 pages already done this month, stuff that I did earlier. So hopefully that will get me close to my goal, and the last few rewrites over this coming weekend, and I'll at least make my monthly goal. I didn't make any big goals for this month because I knew it was going to be tough. But so we'll find out what happens tomorrow night. Check back in and find out. And until then, please keep writing. I'm William Gilmore for the ScreenwritersJourney.com.